Hey friends, I know it has been such a long time. I've been like so busy. Well, I know that it's nighttime and not natural lighting, but I'm here filming a video anyways. I just can't beat the night shift allegations of waking up early enough to get ready and film a video. Time for a lovely Diet Dr. Pepper. Don't do it, don't do it.
I feel like when it comes to diet soda, Dr. Pepper is one of like the best ones that tastes the closest to the actual Dr. Pepper. Because sometimes with diet soda, like it tastes a little off, like it feels chemical-y, if that makes sense. But Dr. Pepper is one of those, or Diet Dr. Pepper is one of those where it like actually is okay. It is a worthy substitute.
I know I haven't filmed in forever. This is actually the first time that I've like put on makeup in almost a month. I went to Vegas about a month ago to see Lady Gaga for the Mayhem Ball, and it was so fun. It was a really good time. I had never fully done Vegas, so my friend and I drove together from LA and we stayed at Caesar's Palace and we did like a few things. So we walked around the hotel. We saw the Bellagio Botanical Gardens, which were stunning and giving Bridgerton. We also went to Hell's Kitchen and I had sticky toffee pudding, which was amazing and life-changing. Okay, we were told we had to try the sticky toffee pudding. We'll try to give a taste test.
Right?
God, the ice cream is
Stunning, 10 out of 10, recommend.
Right?
This is your religious experience.
This will change your life. This moment right now. Remember this moment in your life.
It's so good.
If you do go to one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants in Vegas that does have sticky toffee pudding, you should get it because I had straight up a religious experience that was like the best treat I have ever had, and it was great. Truly amazing. We also went to Absinthe, which is the show right outside of Caesar's Palace, which was really fun. It was a little pricey, but with that being said, it was a really great variety show, definitely NSFW. Great tip is to not sit in the front row if you don't want to get heckled. We sat like a few rows back, which is perfect. It was a really cool acrobatics and just like variety show of different acts. Then obviously we saw Lady Gaga, who was amazing, and we went to the first show. Absolutely, like, we also like walked around the Miracle Mile, which is a mall, and we got Fat Tuesdays, and I also got my first Labubu. I, for some reason, like went into Vegas really wanting a Labubu because there is not a Pop Mart in Arizona. There is some in LA, and I'm never able to like get online to like get the Labubus like when they drop because they sell out like immediately. So for some reason when I was in Vegas, I was like not leaving until I got a Labubu, and I paid like a little bit of a fortune at a different store for this, but I'm happy. I really like dressing up the Labubus. I got this outfit not on TikTok Shop because I have seen it on there, but on Amazon, and it's a little pumpkin. How cute. This is the Love Big Into Energy, and I've named her Rose because I just, you know, could not remember her name or like what the name was, and I kept calling her Rose because she's pink, which is like perfect. So yes, this is my little Labubu, and I have like a few different outfits for her. I was also not interested in Labubus. I thought that they were a little bit creepy until I started seeing everyone dress them up very cute. And I am a sucker for a dressed up stuffed animal, like the new Emos that Disney had. Obsessed with those. I am so sad that they took those away, like, because that was like what I was into before this, and then they took that away, and then that's when these became popular, so this is when I jumped on the bandwagon. Also, if I got any of them, I'm so happy that I have the pink one because I obviously very much love pink. So this was the perfect one. And although I spent a fortune on this, I'm glad that I did because, you know, it's a blind box. Who knows? I could have just spent that much money trying to get this one anyways. So I mean, it did all work out. Anyways, that was a really long recap of like where I've been, and since I've just been back, I just haven't had the energy, and when I have had the energy, I've been reading in my spare time. Which of course, this brings me to the content of this video, and this is going to be what I've been reading recently, and it is going to be books that are on my radar because I have been sucked into one particular series, and I've had like a lot of books that I just have had on my radar either recently or like maybe in the past few months, and I don't know when I'm going to get to them, but I really want to. Like, I see them and I'm like, I gotta read these, but you know, I only have limited time. I'm just a girl. I can only read so much. This is gonna be pretty easy talking about what I've been reading because I've only been really reading one big series, and I've read a few other books here and there, but the series I've mostly been spending my time on is Zodiac Academy by Susan Valenti and Caroline Peckman. I will say that I have been primarily reading these on my Kindle. That's a lie. I've been reading them all on my Kindle. I do have the first book in this cover because I feel like I talk about it so much, especially on TikTok, and I would plan to talk about it here because this has risen to become like a goated favorite series. I'm talking up there with Throne of Glass, which is my favorite series of all time. So like this is probably like in the top 5 area. So just saying, I needed the book. And also, when all these covers are released, I would like to get them. I currently don't have a lot of room right now on my bookshelves and like my space. When I do at some point, that is a plan. But yeah, I'm totally obsessed with it. I will say there's a lot of controversy around if this series is good or not. And I will say if you love like the cheesy CW teen shows like Pretty Little Liars and The Vampire Diaries, Riverdale, etc., this series is definitely for you because it's like the vibes are the same and the books are really funny. And then they're also kind of tragic. I'm not going to talk about it. I just started the 9th book, Restless Stars, and I don't know. It's just, this series has like completely broken my heart and put it back together just to break it and put it back together like multiple times, and I don't know how else to describe it other than that. I will say after the ending of book 8, Sorrow and Starlight, I am curious to where things are going because I feel like it maybe took a direction that I wasn't the most pleased with. But with that being said, like, I'm always going to give the series a chance, you know what I mean? Like, I've loved it so far. I need to see it till the end. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but like, you should definitely pick up this series if you're on the fence. They are all on Kindle Unlimited, which I do like because some of these books are really chunky. Like book 8, Sorrow and Starlight, which I just finished, was 1,244 pages. And like, that's huge. My friend Mercedes, who I'm reading this with, she is actually reading the physical books, and I feel like the wording on some of those, like the type is so small for those big books that I'm like, I can't do it. I need to read it on the Kindle so that I can like enlarge the words and like adjust the brightness. I like to read in bed a lot, especially like after work. But also though, the good thing about these books is that they have like bonus chapters in the end, which the Kindle books I believe don't have. I haven't seen them. This book has my whole heart and soul. I would love to get the special editions, but again, I really don't have any room and like they're sold out, and yeah. This is like completely my mind. Like, I just can't stop thinking about Zodiac Academy. I've tried to pick up other books and read other books, and I was able to do that for a while because I started this series in May technically, but I was reading it kind of slowly, right? And then after I finished Shadow Princess, the end of that book just obliterated me, and I couldn't stop reading since then. Like, I would try and pick up other books and I just couldn't stop thinking about Zodiac Academy. So I think I'm just going to have to finish this series before moving on to any other books. And I would also like to point out and say that, like, usually I do monthly reading wrap-ups and such, but I haven't done any because I've just been so focused on this series on top of being busy, so that I'm like, I feel like I'm not reading as many books, but I actually am, because when I look at like the page count that I'm reading less books, but I'm reading the same amount of pages. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to even think about doing maybe like a summer reading wrap up with June, July, and August, but it's mostly just been, you know, this, and then there have also been like some other arcs that I've read here and there, and like just a few other books. I've been doing a TBR jar as well, but like that has kind of taken a pause until I finish Zodiac Academy. I will say though, after I'm done with the main series of Zodiac Academy, so book 9, there is still like a couple side series. So there is Darkmoor Penitentiary, and then there is The Sins of the Zodiac. I'm going to take a break after Restless Stars and then read some other books, and then maybe start that in like October or November. Well, one of the books that I started as an audiobook with my friend Nikki when we were driving to Vegas was, this was so good. We got about 50 pages in to the point where I'm like, we're not gonna finish this audiobook. I need this book immediately. So we went to 3 different bookstores in LA to try and find this, and the last one had it. All the others were on back order. And I tried to, you know, finish this after reading Shadow Princess. I was like, I'll just, you know, finish this because I had to have the book. I went on a wild goose chase for it. And you know what? Didn't happen. I just couldn't, like, I tried to pick this up and I started reading it and I'm like, I can't do it. I need to just keep reading Zodiac Academy. So after I finish Restless Stars, this is definitely the next book that I'm finishing because I just really enjoy this. It was giving like a Hogwartsy vibe. Clearly that's a theme because actually, never mind, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but if you know, you know. I was totally enamored with this book, and I was just, it's so unfortunate because I really do want to finish this, but I just know with me, and I have ADHD, so like my brain's a little one track. I just wouldn't enjoy this as much as I should, and like I was enjoying it the way, like I can't focus on it until after I'm done with the book series that I'm currently reading. So that is just how that goes. A moment for the sprayed edges though, because this book is actually simply stunning and gorgeous. I also really like how there's like the in-paper art is the map. That's a pretty fun detail. I have read a handful of like other books too. So I read Rose and Chains by Julie Soto. My thoughts are like 50-50 on that one because I liked Julie Soto's writing style. However, I don't know how I felt about Rose and Chains, only because of like the main tropes, which are like master slave, and I have learned after reading that book that like I just wasn't a big fan of it because it's just, that book is all bad things, and I just couldn't get into it. Like after finishing it, I was like, this book is so dark, like I need something light. There were several times where I was like a little sick to my stomach after reading some of the things that happened, and I understand it's a fan fiction, and I understand like the original IP that it's based off of. That was like the other thing too, like because I am a fan of the original IP, I know that it was like rewritten, but I personally, without having read, I could see the parallels, and I just couldn't stop thinking about the parallels. I also just have thoughts on Dramione in general, and because again, I'm attached to the original IP, one of my favorite books growing up. I reread it all last year, around this time last year actually, and Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger would never get together, ever. Like, I'm so sorry to Dramione fans everywhere, but you can say that I'm not a Dramione fan. Will I be reading Manacled and Alchemized? Probably I don't know when I'll be doing it, but like I am morbidly curious to read it because that is like one of the top like fanfics of all time. And I would like to understand Hermione because like I could maybe see the blueprint, but then I think too, because it was so fresh of me rereading the original IP, it just simply wouldn't happen. And it just doesn't work for me. Like I'm sorry. I know I'm probably crushing people's hearts here, but I just can't do it, fam. Can't do it. I also read another anticipated arc of mine, which is Picture Perfect by Tessa Bailey. I absolutely loved Picture Perfect. I'll say this, I was on the fence about Picture Perfect because the main male character, like the way that he's described in some of the other books that came before this in the series, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna like this guy. And it turns out, should have just trusted the process because I love that guy and the couple. And the book, like, the couple, they move a little fast, but it makes sense in the context that they're in. They're just really cute. I love Tessa Bailey. She is one of my favorite contemporary romance authors. I also haven't read a lot of sports romance per se, and I feel like the Big Shot series by Tessa Bailey is a great place to start. I've also read Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed, and the book was just simply okay to me. And I thought it was very quintessential Ava Reed, very vibey, little gothic, moody. It just didn't necessarily work for me. However, I feel like it would have made a great movie to streaming, like, you know, stream to movie on like Netflix or Amazon Prime. I feel like if somebody took the liberties that the My Lady Jane team did to Lady Macbeth, it would be a really fun, you know, movie. Like, I haven't seen a whole lot about Lady Macbeth and like from her point of view, and it was just a really fun take. However, the book itself was just okay, but I feel like it could be done well with the right vision. That's like one of my favorite things. I love book to movie adaptations, and if I had the power to be a producer in Hollywood or like be on a film team to like make this happen or like make books to movies happen, like with, you know, production of screenwriting, storyboarding, etc., even choosing music to put in the like actual movies and TV shows, I would love that. Like, that is honestly one of my top dream jobs. I don't know how I would get there, and that seems like not a job that a lot of people could get, but a job a lot of people would want. And you would probably have to know a lot of people. But, you know, I have some really good visions, you know. I'll just sit with these ideas in my head. Now, this is where we get a little chatty because I have a pile of books surrounding this. And these are books that are on my radar that I would like to read. I just don't know when I'll be able to get to them. Some of these I do plan on reading in the fall time because they're giving fall vibes, and that's why I haven't read them yet. Others I am embarrassed that I haven't read yet because they've been on TBRs and hopefuls lists, and I just haven't gotten to read them because I got sucked into that darn Zodiac Academy. Like, what the heck? It's fine. Everything's fine. With that being said, these two books I'm not going to talk about a whole lot because I've talked about them in the past, but they're like really high on the radar, and they are Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry and Silver Elite by Danny Francis. These are like two books I have had on multiple hopefuls lists, and they're inside my TBR jar. I keep hoping that they'll get picked, and you know what keeps getting picked is ARC books off of NetGalley, and I'm also happy with that because I would like to get through my ARCs, and you know, we're having a great time. But also, TBR jar gods, pick one of these please, I beg of you, do it. I also have Neverkeep, which I said I wasn't gonna read it. I'm probably gonna wait to read this. Next up, we have Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. Again, another dragon tale. I heard that this is like an Anakin Padme inspired, like, not really fanfic, but kind of fanfic. And like, I love Anakin and Padme. And I also love dragons. So this seems extremely up my alley. And I know that the second book did just release, but I'm not gonna buy it, I don't think, until I finish this book. I just don't know when I would be reading this. I would like to. Don't like all these books I'm about to show, I would really like to read. I just don't know when. A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. I got this in my Fairy Loot box for July, and I started reading this and I was very enamored. I don't know. I have so many books I'm in the middle of, and also, like I said, with Zodiac Academy, I am finding it hard to like read other books and actually focus on reading other books until I just finish the series. That is how that cookie crumbles. We also have Metal Slinger, and this is by Rachel Schneider. I started reading this in Target, and I was just having a good time that I was like, I'm not leaving without this book. I wish that I was the type of person who could like read a book, like buy a book, go home and immediately read it. I used to be that type of girl, and then I just have so many books now that's hard to do. I feel like I'm letting my other books down that I've had and just putting them off to the side. I have so many new releases too. I have Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. Reading the description, looking at the edges, like I am very intrigued about this. It's giving dark academia. This is maybe like a September, October book as well. Definitely putting this in the TBR jar. What I have been doing for the TBR jar is putting some of my arcs that I get like from whatever previous month, and then I am also putting in some of my book of the month books because I am severely behind on my book of the month challenge. Usually by this time of the year I have like onwards to the 30 book range, and I have not even read 15 yet, so I definitely need to kick it up in like that regard. And then I will put like between 3 and 5 books in. I'm trying not to add a whole lot because my goal is to actually like finish everything that is in my TBR jar, and like if it weren't for that darn Zodiac Academy, I probably would be closer to that because I feel like it has been pushing me to read books faster because I'm just trying to get through the whole jar. So we'll see. And I know that this video like defeats the purpose because I'm showing a lot of new releases and books that I've recently purchased, but I do need to go on a book buying ban because I have a lot of books on my TBR that are unread, and like some that I've had it for a few years now. We also have Arcana Academy by Elise Kova, and this book has had so many positive reviews, and it's also giving dark academia. These books, Immortal Consequences and Arcana Academy, kind of remind me similarly of each other without having read them, if that makes sense. Like they give off the same vibe. I have heard so many positive reviews about this book, and I also love tarot cards, so like this is definitely like directly up my alley. We'll see. These books are also so thick. Like, you thought that we were done? We still have quite a ways to go. So I have 2 paperbacks here. The first is Green Teeth by Molly O'Neely. From a charming new voice in cozy fantasy comes a tale of fae folklore and found family that is just as delightful and warm-hearted as the charismatic lake-dwelling monster who tells it. And we also have Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. I have a book talker who I really like, Maddie. Like, she does a TBR jar, and this was one of the books she pulled, and after hearing her reviews and thoughts on said book, I was like, this sounds also directly up my alley. So I got this when Barnes & Noble was having their buy one get one 50% off romance sale. We also have For Whom the Bell Tolls by JC Lynn. This is one that I have like hesitantly seen around. Like I've seen a few people talk about it, but those who have read it have loved it that I've all seen, and it just sounds interesting. This is one that I am just simply curious about because I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on this, and I saw it when I was in the store and I was like, huh, maybe. And it is it is On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin. I've heard a lot. I've actually had a few of Briar Bolin's books in my Kindle that I have not read, and I don't know, I just saw this and the cover, the detail is stunning, and it's a book about dragons again. So like when I was reading it, honestly, the blurb kind of was giving Zodiac Academy. Like, yes, but no. That's just my entire brain right now. Everything is like drawing parallels to Zodiac Academy. I've listened to Taylor Swift songs that I've listened to a million times, and I'm just like, you know what would work for this? It reminds me of this character and this situation. And I'm just like, wow, this song now belongs to this character and such. So these next 3 books are actually in the TBR jar. I'm gonna try and go through these pretty quick because I know I've been yapping a lot, but I have a lot of books that I want to read and so little time. Like, so I'm just gonna have to talk about them until I can read them. I just, you know, maybe these 3 will also get pulled out of the TBR jar. We'll see. The first is Blood Beneath the Snow by Alexandra Kennington. I believe this is her debut, and I've seen this a lot on Goodreads, and then when I was in the store, I started reading it, and I'm like, I like this a lot. I gotta read it. Like, I feel like I'd love this. And I believe that this author is going to be at Romanticycon in February, so I would like to try and read it before then, because, you know, if I'm gonna get the book signed, I want to read the book. You know what I mean? We also have 6 Wild Crowns by Holly Race. I'm not sure if this is the author's debut novel, but what I can tell you is that when this book released, I had just been like obsessing over the musical Six. When this book came out, I had been like on a Six kick where I was listening to the music over and over and over repeatedly. And this is about like a romantasy or like a fantasy inspired by the 6 wives of Henry Tudor, none other than Henry VIII. So like, it's inspired by that, obviously, because that was my hyperfixation at the time. Had to get this book, and it is in the TBR jar. I think about reading this book quite frequently, but again, Zodiac Academy and TBR jar. Again, TBR jar gods, pick this book, please. We also have Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rorich, and I've also had this. Been thinking about this pretty much all year. When I was at the Onyx Storm release date party, there was a girl in line next to us, and this was her favorite series. She was hyping it up so much, and after listening to her talk about it, I was like, heck yeah, I want to read that. So I got this first book, and I just haven't had time, or like I don't know why I haven't read it. I just haven't, and you know, I would like to read this a lot because again, when people are hyping books, especially in person, like I love Book Talk and I love BookTube, and I definitely get a lot of recommendations, but then when you meet people and then they're like having a good like one-on-one conversation with you, or like, and just like, it was me, her, and my book bestie, Nikki. When we are having like a conversation like that, it just makes me like even more intrigued, you know, because we like the same books. Like we were there for Fourth Wing, Onyx Storm, or the Empyrean series. There we go. That is the name of the series. And, you know, this is also kind of giving Throne of Glass vibes, just a tiny bit. We have one more final book, at least in this list. And let me just say, before I get to that, I have a lot of other books that I definitely want to read, but these are just like the top of the radar books. So that last book is definitely going to be read in September or October because it is giving fall vibes, and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is the Fairy Loot edition. So yeah, this video was maybe all over the place, but it was very chatty. Obviously, I had to give my series Zodiac Academy some love because that is like 90% of my brain right now. It's just Zodiac Academy. In fact, I can't wait to finish this video so I can just get back to reading Zodiac Academy, right? I would also like to ask on that note, if you lived in Solaria, what would your order be? For me, I think mine would be a Sphinx. For a lot of book girlies, I think we would be Sphinx. Would it be cool to be a Phoenix or a dragon? It would be indeed. Or maybe like a lion shifter or a harpy. That would be a fun one too. But I think for sure I would be a Sphinx because obviously I love books. I feel like a lot of book girlies and book talk creators would be Sphinxes because I thought it was really cool when you're reading the description, like apparently with a Sphinx order, when you're reading, they can like actually step in the book and like watch the story play out. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like me. I do that all the time. I would love that, you know? That would be like a dream superpower. Would I be really powerful, like power-wise? No. I would stay in that lost library and just live there. That is what I would do. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you've read any of these books and which ones should I put towards the top of my like list, or like add like immediately to my TBR jar. Have a lovely day or night or whenever you're watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye, friends.